And welcome back to a little thing we like to call the greatest show on earth. Mike Sy, Justin Lewis, and John Gossett, we're representing here. And guys, let's start out. Everyone wants to hear about Arkansas, Tennessee. So kick it off, guys. Let's go.
It's going to be a big weekend. But before we get into anything too big, we got our loyal caller, Hank, on the phone.
We never can start without Hank.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Pretty good, Hank.
Doing good.
And you know something, I am excited about the all factors of the sports, including college game day visiting and the Razorbacks taking on Tennessee. Hope they win. A little worried about the rain factor Friday night when the Hogs basketball Hogs take on Southwest Mizzou. But I got a question about a couple of other major things, and one of them has something to do about what is the ticket prices for the single game and the whole package of the brand new Arkansas Arrows. And last week I touched upon, don't know if it's with you guys or somebody like that, but now I've been hearing a lot of complaints in the NBA, including the guy that may be doing some possible award-winning work with this Nike commercial, the LeBron James and the Shaq has, among others, have complained about this brand new basketball, and I'd like to hear your comments and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Hank.
All right, first of all, Hank, I don't know if you know this, but basketball is played inside, so the rain won't be a factor tomorrow night. 40% chance of rain.
I think he's talking about the three-point shooting.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's what he was talking
absolutely,
about.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That is right.
Three-point shooting or
who knows?
Precipitation.
There was a little problem against California, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it didn't look too good.
That game was a little scary, but everyone should go out and support the Hogs this Friday. Getting into more basketball, the Arrows, as Hank mentioned, you can buy tickets at the gate, and I am not sure of the price range there, but
can't be too much.
No.
I could afford to go on.
All right, and on to LeBron. The commercials on ESPN. I'm not sure what they're on. I think, but
on everything. On everything.
What have you seen? The business LeBron?
Business LeBron, wise LeBron, young LeBron. I don't care, LeBron. Get those off of there. I mean, this is certainly not, I want to be like Mike. It's terrible. I want to gouge my eyes out every time I see that. I love LeBron James. I think he's a great player. He's going to be a great player for the National Basketball Association. But come on, it's too much. And as for Shaq and the basketball, who cares about the basketball? Let's get back to the Hog football game. Back to your thought, John, about the game.
All right, Arkansas, Tennessee. If you didn't know, Tennessee suffered a heartbreaking loss last week to LSU in the final 9 seconds. And I think it's going to be similar to the Hog game last week against South Carolina, a big passing game, and it's going to be tough. Crompton, the backup quarterback, is going to start instead of Ainge, and I think this could help the Hogs. You have a little inexperience in there, and I mean he threw an interception against LSU. So.
And one thing I noticed last week watching the Tennessee LSU game was, Tennessee's had consistent receivers all year long. In that game, I don't know if they were shook up. I mean, they were playing at home, but I don't know if they got shook up. But they just dropped tons of passes. And if they do that this week against us here in Fayetteville, I mean, it's not gonna be much of a game, because that's the only thing I see that could kill us is their passing game. And if they continue to drop passes, we're going to thrive off of it. Our defense is.
And the big gain for us, I just want to say, their rush defense is just terrible. I mean, they are a good team still, but their rush defense is very, very bad. And with a running back like McFadden, Jones, even Michael Smith, you can see some big numbers up there.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which are Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Michael Smith, and Peyton Hillis. All right, they're going to be rocking it. But I think the one thing we're not seeing with the Tennessee passing game is just how poor our secondary is, especially without Michael Grant. Now, I've said it before, Chris Houston, people say he's underrated. I say he's overrated. He never turns his head. He really needs to get his head into the game if we have a chance against Tennessee this week. I don't care what quarterback is playing. He had a good game against LSU. I think we'd do better against Ainge, obviously with his limited mobility. However, you've definitely got to look at our secondary as the biggest weakness and going against Tennessee's greatest strength.
Yeah, and back to Houston, I mean, he's what, 5'10", 5'11"? I mean, he's big. They talk about how much he bench presses. That doesn't mean anything being a cornerback. It doesn't matter how much you bench press. We want you to cover a guy. We don't want you to tackle him. We don't want him to get the ball. But exactly, being at 5'10", and we saw him last week guarding 6'5", what's his name?
Simeon Rice?
Simeon Rice from South Carolina. We saw him guarding him. Well, it wasn't really guarding him. It was like
being there.
Freeze tag or tag it or whatever. He was playing with him. He wasn't doing anything, wasn't covering him, so he's got to step it up.
Easy there. Chris Houston, I thought, played a relatively good game. I think all of our defensive backs need to turn their head, not just Houston, and I hope our team has been focusing on that this week. But Chris Houston, I mean, they had a lot. Simeon Rice is a hard guy to guard, and especially with that backup quarterback, Blake Mitchell, coming in and just making some very nice passes. I think Chris Houston did. I mean, we were expecting Savell Newton. And I think we did pretty good with him, but Sidney Rice, sorry.
Well, it's hard to defend against a hot quarterback. When he's dealing a hot hand like that off the bench, it's really hard to cover. As critical as I am of the secondary, I mean, you're not going to see that every week. And I think that's something that we're not going to see this week with Crompton.
But when they go to a receiver play after play, and knowing coming into this game, the coaches know they're going to go to him. They're not going to throw to anybody else. They're not going to try to run the ball. They know our secondary is terrible. They should have keyed in on him, double coverage. At least, we saw Herring switch one time to a zone, and that was the Vanette interception.
Worked out pretty well.
Why not try that earlier? I mean, the coaches have got to crack down on the secondary and start doubling up these big gun receivers like Sidney Rice.
I think the big key to the game is not going to be the play of our defensive backs. It's going to be more on the pass rush, and don't let our defensive backs lose the game for us, but let our defensive line win the game for us. I think if they can get a lot of pressure on Crompton, then who cares about our defensive backs?
And I saw Crompton against LSU, and he's not going to be scared. He's not going to back down. All I saw him was he had fire in his eye. He was wanting to lead that team to a victory and prove himself as I believe he's a redshirt freshman, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. And he just wanted to prove himself. And he's not going to come in here and be scared. So we can't expect that. We got to expect their best. Just like I saw him against LSU. He got flushed out of the pocket. He ran and he was diving for first downs. Wanting to get him and wanting to lead his team to victory.
Now that was playing in Neyland Stadium, though, 100,000 around that.
Yeah,
but that's not playing in an away SEC stadium with 70,000 people doing the hog call. I mean, the pressure's going to be a little different, especially against Crompton. No one's going to be cheering for him too much. So.
And if you want to talk about this, give us a call. The number is 479-575-6930. You can talk about the game, or you can talk about the game going on right now. This just in, the Big East playing some defense tonight. Number 3, Louisville, is on top 25-22 going into the third quarter. Thoughts on this? We talked a little last week about the Big East viability in the national championship game over a one-loss SEC game. I want to get your views on that.
It's absurd to think that a Big East team, undefeated, should play in the national championship game, especially if it's Rutgers. I mean, Rutgers is a team, this is the first team they've ever played big time this year. I mean, they only won over South Florida by 2 points. That's not impressive when Arkansas is over here beating Auburn by 17. I mean, that's just me. I think Louisville is a more poised, seasoned veteran team. I think they deserve a BCS bid, nowhere near the national championship.
Oh, absolutely. And you've got to look, I don't think Rutgers has a ghost chance in getting into the BCS national championship game, even if they do go undefeated the rest of the way. But if they did, and somehow, the miracle of all miracles happened, you've got to look. Rutgers and Ohio State, or Rutgers and Michigan, is a game played on Labor Day. All right, it's not a game played on January 8th in Glendale, Arizona. I mean, for crying out loud, they have the Radio Shack logo on their helmets. All right, now that's product placement if I've ever seen it. All right, you don't see us with Eureka Pizza plastered all over our
maybe we
chest.
should.
I wish I did. I should wear it. I'd love to wear it. Great pizza.
Oh, yeah, and, of course, our sponsors right here. And you see that flash up there along with our number, 575-6930, area code 479. Just to plug the number again, we are Northwest Arkansas's only primetime call-in sports show, so take advantage of that.
Now, let me get your opinion of this, Blake. what are Arkansas's chances of being in a national championship? I mean, there's a lot of one-loss SEC teams that are still have a chance, but no one's talking about Arkansas. They're all talking about Auburn and Florida.
Well, you've got to look. If we have a chance to get in the national championship game, there's only going to be 2 one-loss SEC teams because we will have taken care of Florida. So then it comes down between Auburn and Arkansas, and those who know me know how ridiculous I think it is that Auburn is still ranked ahead of us, and the fact that we can be 12-1 and them 11-1, and us still playing in the Sugar Bowl, which great bowl, but it's not fair. It's not fair to us. I don't know if it's the USC season opening loss, what it is, or the close wins against Utah State, Vanderbilt, and Alabama. This is a different Hog team. We all know that. It's just a matter of time before the pollsters realize it, and some are, such as Kirk Herbstreit and Mark May, who are finally starting to come around and seeing the Razorback.
Well, so most of the guys that actually vote for this, mainly in the Associated Press poll, they look at past. I mean, they all look at past. If you see Ohio State and Arkansas matched up, they're going to go with Ohio State just because of the track record. They're not going to pick Arkansas just because they're having a great season. I mean, we see that in basketball time after time. I mean, how many years did Gonzaga have to stun people in the tournament before they finally made a preseason top 25? I mean, we see it in every sport. We got guys that are going to be homers, and they're going to go with their team year after year and not look deep into who's who. They might look and say, "Oh, I don't know anything about Michigan, and I don't know anything about Arkansas." But Michigan, they've produced Heisman Trophy winners. They've produced great teams year after year. I'll go ahead and give them a vote.
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of that is that East Coast bias that we always talk about here in the South.
Yeah.
What you're looking at, Ohio State hasn't played anybody. We talk about Rutgers not playing anybody. Ohio State got Texas on Colt McCoy's second start. All right, so that's their only real tough game, and even that. With Colt McCoy, a freshman, it's not going to be Ohio State on his second start. You look at Michigan's going to be a first real test. And Michigan actually went in to Notre Dame earlier this year, so I think they deserve to be where they are. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Michigan pull the upset against Ohio State, but we're not going to talk about that because personally I am sick to death of the ESPN coverage of this Ohio State-Michigan game. It's constant. They have countdowns on the bottom line. It's really getting old. Hank talks about the LeBron commercials. I talk about this. It's insane, and there's no reason for it.
Well, let's kind of switch gears more. I mean, staying with Hog football, what can you think of Houston Nutt's decision to pull freshman star Mitch Mustaine?
It's a great decision. I mean, I think a blind guy could have been watching, listening or watching the game, and could have said that Dick was going to start. I mean, he was tremendous. He wasn't. It's not like he just came in there and played mediocre. His only interception was Monk dropped the ball, hit off his fingertips. Can't blame the guy for that. Should have been another touchdown. I mean, and precision passing the whole game. We haven't seen that with Mustaine all year. We've seen him show off his arm. We've seen him overthrow receivers and make some good passes, but we haven't seen the precision passing that we saw with Dick. I mean, he was throwing bullets. He was throwing it right through defenders' arms and right to Marcus Monk.
I agree. I think with that, those critical third down plays that Mustaine probably would have thrown the ball away, made the big freshman mistakes that Dick was just putting the ball right in there and giving our team a chance to win. And I thought we should have really pressed more in the third and fourth quarters, and we weren't. We were playing very conservative.
Well, actually, the thing was, we weren't playing that conservative. We ran the ball up and down the field in the second half. If it wasn't for the fluke interception on the Monk play and Monk dropping a touchdown and subsequently missing a field goal, we were out that game. And Blake Mitchell, I'll give him credit. He came in, and he played well in the second half. But Arkansas would have lost that game more than South Carolina would have won that game because of offensive miscues. And to Casey Dick and Mitch Mustaine, the thing is, it's great in the short term, but you got to look at the long term. You don't know if this is going to affect Mitch Mustaine's psyche because we've got 3 more years with him after this one. Something like this can really tear at someone's head, the old noggin.
Looks like it is.
Yeah, Mitch didn't seem too happy. ESPN was keying in a lot on him on the bench, and he just didn't seem too happy.
Team player.
Well, I think he counted every star in the sky that night because he was looking up every time.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, John.
Callers, if you have a prediction or a comment on Casey Dick or Mitch Mustaine, let us know.
We're going to give ours after the show. We want to hear theirs.
Yeah, we're getting bored up here. You're bored of hearing us talk. We want to hear what you have to say. Comment on that.
You're getting bored. My goodness, watch out. I'm going to go Dennis Green on you.
or something.
Dennis Green.
We should ask
Congo
Dennis
game.
Green to come on here.
Yeah, we should. Everyone remember.